Hi guys, Jughead82 here, and today I'm going to review a video game. I'm going to review a game I love. It's WWF Raw. So let's get this review kicking. Alright guys, let's get this review started. The game was made by LJN. The company is now defunct. This will be the last game created by LJN. So WWF Raw, as you can see from the opening of the title screen, they really did put a lot of effort in doing the title screen and so forth. The game that was before this was WWF Raw Rumble. Let's get the game started. Of course, you have your one-player and two-player singles. You have one-on-one tag team Survivor Series, which is kind of like a tug-of-war style match. You have your Royal Rumble, and you have your Bellum match, which is kind of like a no-holds-barred. Whoever has no life left loses the match, basically. And you have a Raw Endurance match, which is kind of like a gauntlet. Let's go on one-on-one. You have tournament settings, which is basically a long, drawn-out tournament. The tournament, basically, you can't really save it. You have to play it straight through. There's no quitting that tournament. You can't save. As you can see, you have the wrestlers right here. This game had 12 wrestlers, but for this time it was pretty decent. Yokozuna, a whole bunch of classic wrestlers. This is a must pick for any old school WWF fan who wants to go, have a little time trip back in time. Let's see. Doing the Clown! And we're going to face the 1-2-3 Kid. Now, as you can see from the screen, as it shows the commentators looking at their monitors, you have Jerry the King Lawler and Vince McMahon. Now, on some other versions of this game, you have Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. That'll be on the Genesis versions. Graphically, it's a little bit better than Royal Rumble, but not too far off difference. Compared to the Sega Genesis version, the Super NES graphics are a little bit better, but the Sega's a whole lot faster. The rosters for both games, like I said, there weren't any real differences between the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. Of course, the game was also released for the handhelds, the Game Boy, and the Sega Game Gear. Many people say that the Sega Game Gear version had better two more wrestlers that could have been on the other two, which were Crush and Randy Savage. It's a kind of surprising thing that Randy Savage was put on the Game Gear version, because when it was released for the Game Gear, the Macho Man had left the WWF a couple of months before that. You can't mess with the Clown. Man, I'm a pro at this game. As you can see, I beat him in like, what? Did you keep counting? It was a couple of seconds or something. Like I say, this would be the last game released by LJN. Like I say, the next game to come out would be a completely different form from what you're seeing now. It would be WrestleMania, the arcade game, which is also a pretty decent game too. But it didn't fall under any rules of wrestling games before it. It was kind of like a combination of Mortal Kombat meets the WWF. Let's see. Let's get Big Daddy cool, decent. Oh crap! The computer automatically picked the 1-2-3 Kid again. I guess it's not Xbox night. The Sega Genesis version, of course, they had the 32X version for the Sega too. The 32X version actually had a hidden wrestler called Kong. To unlock him, you simply have to hit the down button as well as the A and B button at the same time during the wrestler select screen in order to unlock him. As you can see on this game, if you played WWF Royal Rumble, moveset wise, every wrestler pretty much had the same movesets except for the finishers. But on this game, they kind of tweaked it just a little bit. Not too much, but you'll see some of the wrestlers in this game go for a DDT or go for like a power driver or some sort of different type of move set. Also in this game you had something which was called mega moves, which is kind of like a exaggerated type of move the wrestler can go for, but unfortunately you have to have like a set combination of code buttons to hit in order to go for certain mega moves and whatnot. Finishers are rarely easy to go for on the Super Nintendo. For the Sega Genesis, it's basically hitting the A and B button at the same time will go for a finishing move. But on the Super Nintendo, you just really have to hit one button, which is the R button. We got a little, let me go on jackknife him real quick. Razor coming in, interfering in my match. You don't do that. Like I said, this game, of course, had a couple of missing pieces. Namely, after Royal Rumble was released, the Super Nintendo version of Royal Rumble didn't have Hulk Hogan, but the version that was on the Sega did. But on this game, on either port of Raw, Hulk Hogan was on there because he was, at this point, had left the company. The one bad port that many fans consider as a bad port of the game was the one that was released for the Game Boy. The graphics were real sucky. For a Game Boy, it was still not par to what the Game Boy could do. And also, many people said it was kind of hard to even win a match or even go for a finishing move. But to go for a finishing move on the Game Boy version of WWF Raw, because I had that version, it's pretty simple. You just hold the select button and press B. Well, you can't let me finish this match. We're gonna get him. We're gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. There we go. Drop kick to the face. Like I said, finishing moves are very easy to go for. Tried to stop me, but you couldn't. Like I say, I would also like to give a shout out to Midnight 890. He was the guy that gave me the inspiration to do my version of this review for the Super Nintendo. Check his channel out. He's a pretty cool guy. He also has a review of the Sega Genesis version of WWF Raw. This is Jughead82 signing off.